Welcome to The Review, a Rev Partnership Podcast, where we host conversations that share the power of public education and its impact on our region. I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Brands. In each episode, we will explore the stories, insights, and conversations that shape the future of student learning and growth in our region. Tarrant County is a community with incredible power and potential. At the heart of this power is our public education. Education is more than just a foundation. It's a catalyst for transformation. Let's jump into the episode. Welcome to The Review, a Rev Partnership Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Brands. Here at Rev Partnership, we're not really into April Fool's jokes, but today we are flipping the script on its head. Usually we're here with people who have doctor in front of their names, have a long list of research publications, and are largely considered education experts in their field. But today we're interviewing the real education experts, the future teachers of Tarrant County. I'm joined today by Molly from Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD, Sophia from Mansfield ISD, and Dr. Leanne Tamplin, the CTE director at Mansfield ISD. Thank you all for being here today. Molly, you and Sophia are both aspiring teachers. You have chosen to be in the CTE education and training pathway at your prospective districts. And for those people who aren't familiar with what that means, it means you've raised your hand and you've said, I want to be a future teacher. Molly, what was really motivating to you about making the decision to pursue a career in education?
I had a lot of issues in early elementary, and I had a lot of teachers that helped me get through that, and it made me realize that I wanted to be that light for other students. And so I feel like being a teacher, I can really show that it's okay and that you can keep going.
That's a great motivation. And I think, too, as you're going to have students in your classrooms that struggle with being in school, you'll have your own personal experience to help guide them. And for those of you who have not seen Molly's face before, she has been a star on the Rev Partnership Caught You Being Awesome fall media campaign, where we featured some of the excellent things happening across Tarrant County school districts. And you were on there talking about your decision to be a teacher in the CTE pathway. And Sophia, you spoke to all of Tarrant County's superintendents this October at the Rev Partnership Superintendent Kickoff Breakfast, where you shared at Mansfield ISD your decision to become a teacher and enter into the education and training CTE pathway. So can you talk to us a little bit about what motivated you to want to be a teacher?
I've always kind of known I wanted to be a teacher. It was something that I didn't really realize at first, but it was something that grew into my heart. I knew I wanted to help people. I just didn't know how. And I figured medical was not the way for me, and teaching was definitely something that I really always wanted to do.
I think one of the things that we don't understand about, or is not readily understood about what it means that each of you are high school students who has decided you want to be a teacher, is that you get actual time in classrooms across your school districts in Mansfield and Eagle Mountain Saginaw. And Sophia, you've had 400 hours in classrooms across Mansfield ISD. And Sophia, you've had over 100 hours of real experience in these classrooms. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Sophia, can you talk about what that experience is like? Like, what are you doing in these classrooms to support the students and teachers?
Okay, so last year I was in the preschool, and it was not a conventional preschool. They did a lot of centers, and it was very play-based. So I was just kind of going around monitoring and asking simple little questions like, oh, what does that letter sound like? What is this number? Where does it go in the number line? Things like that. And then this year I'm in the kindergarten classroom, and I do a lot of small group and a lot of reading, and I help them figuring out their Heggerty stuff like that, and what CR blends, different consonant blends, things like that. I just help them work on the skills that they're not as strong in, things like that.
You want to be a kindergarten teacher?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're already getting that practice of being in kindergarten classrooms. And Molly, what has your experience been like having those hours in classrooms in Eagle Mountain Saginaw supporting the teacher and students?
I'm an intern at Hatley in a second grade classroom.
Okay.
So I've gotten to see a lot of different ways that you can teach students and just like their love for being there. So I've just gotten to see different things.
Molly, you want to be a kindergarten teacher also?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What's interesting to you about being a kindergarten teacher? Why did you choose that grade?
I chose kindergarten because I want to be like the base of your education. So I want to give them like a good start so that they don't have like a bad start. Because you shouldn't dread going to school. Like you should be excited for it. And I want them to be excited.
That's a great commitment. Okay, so Leanne, in your leadership role at Mansfield as the CTE director, you can certainly speak to the investments that districts make in making sure that these classroom experiences really replicate what a teaching experience will look like. Can you talk about how Mansfield thinks about that investment of a student's time in terms of it preparing them for their future trajectory of pursuing a career in teaching?
Absolutely. It really is a team effort. We have a number of different professionals across the district that support that effort. Of course, setting up the CTE pathway, we want to make sure that our students are exceptionally prepared in their freshman and sophomore level courses before they go into the instructional practices and practicum courses, which is where they get that hands-on experience throughout the district. In their freshman and sophomore year courses, they're really learning the foundations of what it means to be an educator. They are learning either child development or human growth and development concepts, those theories, so that they really understand the whole child and what it means to educate a child, both intellectually, the SEL component to that, and as they get into the junior and senior level courses, they get to put all that knowledge to practice. So that really starts with our educators across the district. So in Mansfield ISD, we have over 20 elementary schools. Most of our students do want to do be elementary teachers, but some of them want to be even middle and high school teachers. So we like for them to intern with the younger kids first because we want them to have that age gap and not really mentoring with their peers. And so it starts with those teachers across the district that are saying, yes, I want to have a CTE student partner with me. And they really get close. That's the most exciting thing that we see with our students is these people may be strangers to them at the beginning of the school year. And then by the end of the school year, they are absolutely their mentors, their confidants. They build that relationship and pour into them and help guide them into their path to become future teachers.
Okay, so there are almost 3,800 high school students, like the two of you, across our region who have said, I'm selecting the education and training CTE pathway, and I am interested in continuing a career to become a teacher. And we hope that those teachers, like you, will come back and teach in Tarrant County, maybe even the districts that you are graduating from. And Leanne, the region has made a lot of investments with your leadership and the leadership of other CTE directors to make sure that the instruction, the courses that you're taking, and the classroom experience that you just spoke to is really being recognized for the level of exemplar instruction that is similar to what you would get in a post-secondary college of education experience. So talk a little bit about how districts have done that to make sure that these aspiring teachers are getting college credits if they chose to enter some of our regional colleges, specifically Charlton State,
Sure.
and earn up to 9 and eventually, as the program fully scales, 12 credit hours.
Sure. This was really important to me that we join in this effort to provide that dual credit space. So when I was an education and training teacher and I had students out doing internships just like these two young ladies, we would also have college level students that were doing their student teaching. And I heard so many times from our partnering teachers that my students were more helpful and more prepared for that classroom experience than some of our post-secondary students were. And the amount of times I heard that was just phenomenal. And so I knew that our program was high quality. I knew what they were learning in the classroom was preparing them to really make an impact with our students. And so when we had this opportunity last year to join the Tarleton Today program, we were more than thrilled to jump in and really bring that to our students. Tarleton has been an incredible partner for us. They have made this partnership an easy transition. So this was our first year to join that program. So our instructional practices students are going to have the opportunity to get 3 hours of college credit. And then next year, we're going to bring on 2 additional courses. So by the time they graduate, they'll have the 9 hours. And I want you to think about the fact that when a student goes into a post-secondary program, typically they have to have observation hours, like 50, 100 observation hours. Well, you heard earlier, Sophia has already had 400 hours of classroom experience. Molly has already had 100 classroom hours of experience. And our education partners are recognizing, like, they are already doing these things.
Yeah.
And so we don't need to make them repeat those same experiences that they've had in high school. They're ready to excel and move even faster through their programs.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to double click on a few things because I think it's a huge celebration that our higher ed partners are recognizing the quality of instruction that's happening at the high school level in these CTE programs and saying this matches what we would expect in a college level course. And so we're going to give credit hours for that. And it really encourages, as we know, that we need more wonderful aspiring teachers like Sophia and Molly to enter our classrooms across the region. It really gives them a pathway to be motivated to persist to become a teacher when they are going to be receiving a transcript from Charleston State with real credit hours on it that they then do not have to pay for when they move on to their post-secondary experience. So really creating an access path to what we might even consider a regional grow your own, because like we mentioned earlier, we'd love for you to come back to the district you graduated from. The data in Tarrant County shows that 70% of all the educators live within just 25 miles of where they grew up. And we know that those teachers then are more likely, as Molly talked about, to relate to their students because they have similar lived experiences. They're from the same neighborhood and from the same community. And that goes such a long way in building those relationships that are so valuable in a classroom for a student then to be able to learn from all of you. And so the investment that our higher ed partners have even seen in what's happening in the CTE pathway is certainly something to celebrate, as we know that those higher ed partners they're a critical piece of the whole structure in making sure that our teachers are prepared.
Sure. And on that same note, not only are they graduating with the dual credit hours, almost all of our regional education programs provide the opportunity for the students to earn their education aid certification. So before they graduate, they create their educational account through TEA, and we certify them as education aides. So should they have the flexibility in their college schedule, they can work in ISDs, local ISD as paraprofessionals while they're going to school.
Wow.
So that's another opportunity.
So we think there's so much to celebrate about this initiative that on April 25th, the region is having a signing day. We kind of feel like we're in front of the ESPN microphones here. And so similar to what you would see with a sports signing day, we think that our future teacher pipeline needs to be celebrated in the same way that athletes are celebrated. And so on April 25th, every senior who is graduating from the CTE Education and Training program will walk across the stage, sign their letter of intent, and so will the sophomores and juniors who are entering the CTE pathway to sign their interest in pursuing a career in teaching. And so we're really excited to make sure that we are celebrating the decisions that all of you are making to become a teacher and making sure the region is giving kind of that recognition to the great work you're doing. Leanne and I were both teachers at one point, and we all know that every teacher has a long list of memorable teaching stories, some that we're more comfortable sharing, some that we're probably less comfortable sharing. And so we want to hear what your most memorable teaching story is. And just to get us warmed up, I'll get us started so we can kind of all feel comfortable sharing our stories. And I have to say, the first stories that came to mind, my first teaching experience was as a 5th grade teacher in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the first stories that I remembered, they weren't very favorable about me as a teacher. And the story that I'm going to tell is that on a Thursday afternoon, my school principal came down the hallway to my classroom and said, I have an extra ticket to this motivational speaker. He's speaking down at the convention center, It's a fancy dinner, get dressed up and you're welcome to go. And I was like, absolutely. I was a young teacher living in an apartment by myself. And I thought this was like really super cool. So I got dressed up, drove down to this big fancy ballroom, and was completely inspired by this speaker and his motivation for being a teacher and his inspiration about how every educator needs to make sure they are doing everything they can to connect with the students in their classroom. So I left the dinner, I went home to my apartment and stayed up way past my teacher bedtime, to write a math rap. At the time, we were learning in 5th grade fractions, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and the next lesson was on dividing fractions. So I sat up and wrote this fraction rap, and I showed up on Friday morning with so much energy and so much joy for life, and I was ready to go. I got in front of that 5th grade classroom, and I was like, you won't believe the excitement that today is going to bring. And all these little 5th grade faces are looking at me with like a combination of excitement, but like they're too cool for school and they don't want to look like they're excited. And I performed this rap like I was somebody really special and cool. And it had hand motions and all sorts of things. Then I had the whole class get up, push in their chairs. They had to do it. They had to do the hand motions. It was a combination of kids who were really into it and kids who were really embarrassed by it. And for the rest of the year, every time that we had to divide fractions, I would say, go back to that fraction rap and remember the lyrics, and that will give you the directions on how to divide fractions. So that's my story.
That's a good one.
5th grade fraction rap. Okay. Do you want to get us started, Molly?
At my internship, there's a kid who would refuse to speak to me. He's so perfect, but he was super shy and he has a really bad speech impediment. But one day I went and I read with him individually, and somehow that, I guess, motivated him to keep talking to me. And he asks me all these questions about like what happens if you fly into the sun, and then like what happens if a raccoon ended up in like Oklahoma and not in Texas or any of those things. So every time that he sees me now, he asks me those types of questions, but he talks to me every day now instead of being scared. And so,
Oh, that's a great relationship you built with him. That's an inquisitive little kid. Sophia, what story stands out to you?
I haven't had anything too crazy happen to me, but I kind of had like a psychological experiment happen with my preschoolers last year. It was on accident, and every time the 10 o'clock bell would ring, it was my time to leave, and they ended up figuring that out. So anytime they'd hear a bell, they'd be like, "Bye, Miss Sophia, bye, Miss Sophia," and it wasn't always the time for me to leave, but that's just really interesting to see how that ended up happening.
The connection they made between those two things. Yeah, that is neat.
Yeah.
Okay, Leanne, we're not going to let you off the hook either.
Oh, goodness. So I was thinking about this, and mine was actually fairly recent. When I was just about to leave the classroom, I was taking a group of my education and training students. We were at the state taffy convention, and I had a group of girls. There were 4 girls, and I'm a boy mom. So I am not used to taking girls shopping. So it just so happened that there was a mall across from the hotel where we were staying at for our competition. And they wanted to go over to the mall. And I thought, okay, well, we can have dinner over there because there's a food court. And they wanted to shop. And boy, did they want to shop. They wanted to try on every outfit they could find at this particular store. I think it was Forever 21. And I kept thinking, are we finished yet? And they're like, oh, no, we just got started. We must have been there for 3 hours. And they were trying on different outfits. But it was so fun. And they were adorable. And we had the best time. And those young girls have gone on to become teachers. And I couldn't be more proud of them. It's just those experiences are what help you build relationships with your students. So great time.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of teacher do you want to be? As you've had models in your own lives at different grades, and even the teachers that you observed in your teacher observations, what do you hope stands out to you about the kind of teacher that you want to be for the students in your classroom? Sophia, what comes to your mind?
I just really want to be like someplace they can go and they feel comfortable being there. They're not scared to ask questions. They won't feel like they're stupid or anything like that. I've had a lot of teachers that are really open to ask any question you want. Like, this is a safe space. You can ask the silliest question and I won't laugh at you. And it just really helps you grow as a person to become more confident in who you are. And I just really hope I can do that for someone else.
How about you, Molly?
Kind of the same thing, but I want to be able to hold my students accountable, but also be the type of teacher that they come back and see whenever they go to the next grade. Just someone that like they feel comfortable with and they see in the hall and they get super excited, but also like they know that like you need to do your work.
Okay, we've all had teachers that were like, they weren't the best. So what's one thing that you swear you'll never do as a classroom teacher? Like you're like, I'm never doing that.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I think the biggest thing is whenever you ask a question, being just like, oh, that's easy. Like, why don't you know how to do that? Because that's happened even recently. Like in my math class, I'll be like, oh, I don't understand this question. And they'll be like, oh, it's easy. You've been doing this for a while. And it's just kind of like oh, maybe I should know it and something's not clicking up there. But it's something that I want to be able to just help them out with.
Okay.
I feel like it's also similar, but instead of just drilling things over and over again, like obviously that's helpful, but if you don't get it, you don't get it. So just making sure that like I teach it in multiple ways. So if I have like a group of students that don't understand it the first way I taught it, taking them and then reteaching it another way. Because if you genuinely don't understand it, doing it the same way that you already don't understand it's not
really
gonna
work. Yeah. Okay. Teaching outfit. What is a teaching outfit you swear, or even like one teaching item, clothes item that you swear you'll never wear? That you're like, I am never going to wear a plaid vest.
I just think back to like when I was in elementary school and we'd have like field day. All the teachers would show up in their capris. I would go to like their knees. I was always like, this is the worst thing ever.
Like go for shorts, go for pants, but not the knee-length capris. It's a good one.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Really? These knee-length capris are really a thing.
Note to us was, but capris are out.
I'm going home and getting rid of mine immediately.
I don't know, probably like with the field day thing, like the like A6 tennis shoes.
Sorry, no A6 tennis shoes?
Like they're just not cute.
Okay, well, we're going to hold you to it, Molly. If we ever see you in A6 tennis shoes, we're going to be like, you broke your rule. You said you would never wear them. I feel like I had a lot of teachers that had very colorful sweaters. There was like a sweater phase, or sweater vest. Yeah, I remember my 4th grade teacher had a Christmas sweater vest, and you wore it like every year because you can't wear that all year round. And it was very memorable. So like there was a whole sweater situation I think that I would try to avoid.
Yeah, for sure.
Vests, long sleeves. Okay, Sophia, you were talking about your classroom setup and that being one of the things that kind of got you excited about thinking about teaching as a profession. So tell us more about how are you going to set up your ideal classroom?
So when I was younger, I was always like, the more colors, the better. Like, all these posters I have cats and dogs and things that would just like catch your attention. But now that I'm actually in a classroom, I realize how like distracting that can be. So I'd probably tone down the colors a little bit, but I still want to have like that fun, bubbly little atmosphere where you can go in and you don't feel like you're just staring at a wall for the whole 8 hours that you're at school. So something like that.
Okay.
I feel like mine's the opposite. Like I want to have colors in my room. Obviously not like too in your face, but like I feel like having color in there would keep my attention.
Mhm.
And then when I was in 6th and 7th grade, I had a teacher that had like this giant loft that her like husband built, and she would let us go in there and read. And I'm not a reader, but I would go in there and actually read.
Wow.
So just having something like that in my room, even if it was just like a corner type of thing, like I want to have that because I know that motivated me to do something that I really didn't want to do.
You're going to have a dedicated reading corner.
Yes.
It makes kids feel encouraged and welcome to read.
Yes.
Okay. Leanne, do you remember your first classroom?
I do remember my first classroom. And what's so funny is when you first start, you have nothing.
I know.
And a lot of people don't realize that teachers, they fund that themselves. They are the ones that they love it so much. They're willing to go buy their own decorations and things to make their classroom feel homey and make their students feel, like it's a warm environment. And so I remember the white walls, the white floors, just desk and rows. And so I went to the store and just bought all kinds of posters and just everything I could to just help make the space feel just inviting to my students. Yeah.
The countless hours of cutting out construction paper and different welcome signs. And your comments about how you're going to set up your first classroom made me remember that my first grade teacher had a stop sign in her room, but it was like the red, yellow, green stop sign, and I wonder what the story behind that was, like how she somehow got a public stop sign in our room, and she would use it to kind of indicate to the classroom this is like red quiet time or it's green go time. It was like full length, like you would see driving down the road. Okay, teachers, they all have them. They're catchphrases. They think they're funny. They think that, I don't know where they pick them up, but maybe it's like in the teaching community, things like the bell doesn't dismiss you, I do. What's your teaching phrase going to be?
I mean, I've kind of I don't use it in the classroom yet, but when I walk around the house, if my sisters are being too loud, I'll be like, quiet coyotes, quiet coyotes. And that kind of something that we do around the house just to not poke fun at each other, but, kind of pretend to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay, that's a good one.
I like doing the physical ones, so the waterfall and they
Oh.
'cause I feel like that catches my attention. I would pay attention after that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, give us another example. I like that.
another one?
Uh-huh.
I don't know, the clapping ones.
Mm-hmm.
Just something that you can move around and do.
Okay.
'Cause I can't just sit there if someone tells me oh, I need you to be quiet.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit there for 5 minutes and then I'm probably going to start talking again. And so I need someone to come on.
Okay, so if we were to fast forward 10 years, which seems like a long time, and you've just finished your first couple years of being a classroom teacher, what would you want in one word to be that your students said about you?
Kind, I think. I love living life as a kind person because you never know what kind of impact you're going to make on the next person that's sitting next to you, or even what a smile can do to the person in front of you.
Yeah.
So I just want to be remembered by someone who's really kind and caring and things like that.
Okay, that's a great word.
I would want them to use the word loving because sometimes they don't have that love at home. And so I just want to be able to love on them.
Okay, we're going to play a game. We're going to call it Here to Stay or Gone Forever. So I have a list of classroom teaching things, and everyone's going to get to say this thing is it's here to stay. This thing is going to stick around in classrooms and in schools, or it's out. It's gone forever. Okay, you ready? Okay. Whiteboards. Here to stay or gone forever?
Here to stay.
I would hope here to stay.
Okay.
Here to stay, for sure.
Okay, we're going to go back a little bit. Chalkboards.
Gone.
Gone.
I think they might be gone.
Okay.
Gone.
Okay. What about PE uniforms?
Gone.
Gone. Is that what you hope will happen?
Well, I hope that will happen. I don't think it will, but I would hope so.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Sophia?
There was something that built character about putting on a PE uniform every day, so I think I would hope they're gone, but they might stay.
Okay.
Gone, I would think.
Giving teachers an apple.
Gone. Here? I don't. Gone.
Okay, gone.
Gone.
No more giving teachers an apple.
I mean, it's sweet, but I don't think that's happened for a long time, so I'd say maybe gone.
Okay, you're going to say it's already gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the nostalgia. I wish it would make a comeback.
Okay.
I think that's sweet.
Okay, ladies. Dr. Tamplin wants an apple, so we'll have to deliver her apples. Paper worksheets. Are those here to stay or gone forever?
I would hope that they're here to stay, but I feel like they're going to be gone forever.
Okay.
I hope they stay too.
All right. You're going to have them both in your kindergarten classrooms.
I agree. Everybody doesn't learn the same way.
Okay.
And
Okay.
some of us like paper still.
All right. Paper, here to stay. Group projects. When a teacher assigns you people to work with and gives you the project. Group projects. Are those here to stay or gone forever? What do you think, Molly?
I like group projects, but I feel like I always end up doing the work. So probably Gone Forever. I
Okay.
feel like it ends up being an individual project anyways.
All right. An individual project with some people who are tagging along.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're here to stay, but same thing that you're always end up doing it by yourself or the way you want it to be.
Okay. So you're saying all the slackers end up in your groups because both of you are going to get it done. I feel that.
I
Leanne?
think that's the teacher in us all. We take the lead, don't we? I think they're here to stay, but I think there might be a better way to do it where everybody has shared responsibility.
Okay. So we don't have Sophia and Molly doing all the work.
100%.
Yeah. Classroom pets. Are you going to have classroom pets? Are those here to stay or gone forever?
Wait, like an actual animal?
Yeah, like a living animal.
I'm on team here to stay.
Okay. Are you going to have a classroom pet, Molly?
Sure.
What would you have?
I don't know. Because I feel like I don't want to leave it there on the weekend.
Yeah.
Like that's like,
You'd have to bring it home with you.
yeah, so I don't know. Like, no.
You have a couple of years to think about it before you have your own classroom.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think, Sophia?
My 9th grade biology teacher, she had a bunch of animals. So she had like iguanas, hedgehogs, ferrets, and like she'd go out to lunch and bring back an animal.
Oh.
So I think they're fun. I would like them to stay.
Okay. And which animal are you going to have then in your classroom?
I loved her hedgehog, so I think I'd probably try finding one of those.
All right. Sophia's having a hedgehog.
Yeah, I think they're here to stay, but let's draw the line at the snakes.
Okay.
Yeah, no snakes.
Okay. Yeah. So hedgehogs are acceptable. No snakes.
No snakes.
I think that's a fair compromise. Homework. Is homework here to stay or gone forever?
Gone.
All right.
As much as I dread it, I think here to stay just because the extra practice is always helpful.
Okay.
I think it's gone. I think homework's turned in more to I didn't finish it in class, so I have to finish it at home, but not like assigned homework.
All right. Traditional letter grades like A, B, C letter grades. Are those here to stay or gone forever? You're going to have unique perspectives because you want to be kindergarten teachers.
Yeah. I feel like it would depend grade level wise.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I agree. Grade level definitely like makes a change in it, but I think that it's hard to give someone like a letter grade because then they base their whole education career about that, like, oh, I'm gonna always be a B student, I'm always gonna be an A student. So I would hope that there's some kind of change made to them, but not necessarily take it away completely, because then you're getting rid of that academic validation that some kids actually really love having.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a tricky one as we're looking at standards-based grading and that scale and how you can convert that scale into a letter or number grade. I don't think number grades will ever go away because of GPA, especially at the high school level, but there's definitely more of a push to make grading more aligned to the state standards.
Okay. What about extra credit? Here to stay or gone forever?
Here to stay.
Okay, here to stay.
I love my extra credit.
Yeah, sometimes you need it, so here to stay.
Okay, here to stay.
For sure.
All right, 3 here to stays.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for playing our game. So as we kind of move to close out, what would you say to other students that are in high school that are considering going into a teaching career? What would you say to them?
I would probably say to do it because I feel like it's rewarding. It's definitely like a challenge, but then you get to the end of the day and the students, like you get to see them succeed. And so like I feel like that makes my heart happy. And so I feel like just do it.
Okay, just go for it.
I always get told like, oh, why don't you want to do like engineering or something that's more high paying? But honestly, being a teacher is something that you really feel in your heart rather than what you see on a check. And if you really have the compassion to be a teacher, that it's something that not many people have anymore, and just pursuing it will make you feel a lot happier than writing at a desk and getting that paycheck at the end of the month.
Thanks, Sophia.
Yeah, I agree with Molly and Sophia both. As you get older and you reflect on your life and you think about what you want your legacy to be, having a legacy where you have inspired thousands of people, that you can't measure that. You can't measure that in dollars, and you can't measure the impact. So just knowing that as you get older and that you've made a huge difference in someone's life, I think that's something that is inspiring to all of us to pursue who have chosen education as our profession.
Yeah. Kind of in that lines, Leanne, what do you wish that more people understood about being a teacher?
That's a great question. Being a teacher is so rewarding. There are two things. There's being able to walk through situations with someone in real time and being there for them and being there to guide them and support them in their time of need, is so rewarding. But then having seen someone go through their program, for example, I get to see these teachers come back and work in our district. They've gone off to college and they've come back and they're in their late 20s now. And to see the impact that I had on their lives, and they come and hug me and say, thank you so much. And just knowing that I was somebody that made a difference for them. There are no words to describe that.
Yeah.
And so I want people to understand that teaching is such a rewarding profession. It's really hard work. And I know that these two ladies, because of their experience, they're seeing the hours and the hard work that their mentors pour into their students, but it's so worth it and it's so rewarding on the flip side.
Yeah. Okay, so Sophia and Molly, as we wrap up, what would you want to say to the future group of students that are in your classrooms? If they were here today or you were standing in front of them, what message would you want them to hear from you?
I think that I would say how I love them and that every single one of them is here for a reason and that they all have a legacy to fulfill and they're all going to do amazing things and that no matter how hard the road gets ahead, they'll always have a place in my classroom.
And Molly, what would you want your students to hear from you and know?
I would definitely want them to know that I do love them and I care for them, and then I hope that whatever they do in their future, like they're successful at, and go home and hug your mom because she needs it.
Aw, that's a great message.
Advice.
Okay, for anybody who has ever for a single moment doubted the future of our teaching profession and how we are going to make sure that we have the high quality, exceptional teachers that every student in Tarrant County needs, I am walking out of here with absolute confidence in the future of education because the two of you young ladies. And so thank you so much for your decision and your commitment to be a teacher, to pursue that degree, for the decision that you made to devote your heart and your life and your life's work to the students of, we hope, this region. We hope you will graduate from your colleges of education and come back and teach right here in Tarrant County in your graduating districts and be a continued member of this community. So thank you. A deep thank you for the commitment that you've made. I am walking out of here feeling extremely confident in the future of education in Tarrant County because of the two of you.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Review, a Rev Partnership Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe and follow us so that you never miss an episode. For more information on Rev Partnership, please visit our website at revpartnership.org and follow us on social media. Until next time, thank you.